We want to now look at what will cause equilibrium output to increase more in the short run in a goods market model, increasing G by $1 or decreasing T by $1. So for this, what we're going to do is we're going to compare our government spending multiplier and our tax multiplier in a standard goods market model. So here by standard goods market model, we mean where the government spending, investment, and taxes are exogenous, and we have a closed economy. And consumption is a linear function of disposable income. So under these assumptions, we know the formulas for the government spending multiplier and tax multiplier are as follows, right? Government spending multiplier is 1 by 1 minus MPC. Tax multiplier is minus MPC by 1 minus MPC. Just to reiterate that these formulas apply under these assumptions, right? That GIT are exogenous and NX is 0. Obviously, these assumptions change, the formulas can change, but we're looking at it into the context of our standard goods market model. Now, so let's compare the two multipliers. Now, why would comparing the two multipliers give us that answer? Because we know what the multiplier essentially tells us, right? The government spending multiplier would tell us if we increase government spending by 1 unit, how much does equilibrium output change? Similarly, the tax multiplier will tell us if we increase or decrease taxes by $1, 1 unit in general, right? So that would basically tell us how much equilibrium output would change. Now, so comparing the multipliers would help us answer this question, right? So first we'll just do a pure mathematical comparison and then we'll try to think about this conceptually. So now we can see the denominator, both the multipliers is the same, 1 minus MPC. But the numerator of the tax multiplier in absolute value magnitude, ignoring the minus sign, we're just looking at the absolute value, is 1 MPC. And we know MPC is less than 1 because when your income increases, you consume a certain portion of the increase and you save some part of it, right? While the numerator of the government spending multiplier is 1. So, numerator of the tax multiplier, which is MPC less than 1, is smaller in magnitude than the numerator of the government spending multiplier. The denominators are the same, but the numerator and absolute value of tax multiplier is smaller because MPC is less than 1. So, the tax multiplier is smaller than government spending multiplier in absolute value or in terms of magnitude. Because we know if you have two fractions, the denominators are the same. The larger fraction is the one with the larger numerator, which in this case would be the government spending multiplier. So, changes in government spending has a larger effect on equilibrium income level than equal size changes in, sorry, this should not be government spending, than equal size changes in taxes, right? So, there should be taxes over here. So, changes in government purchases have a larger effect on equilibrium income level than equal size changes in taxes. So, this was like a pure mathematical answer that we got. Why would equilibrium output increase more due to changes in G than equal changes in T? Let's look at a conceptual reasoning behind this now. So conceptually, why is the government spending multiplier? Mathematically, we saw it's because the denominators are the same, the numerator of the government spending multiplier is larger. But what's the conceptual reasoning behind this? The conceptual reasoning is that the government spending multiplier is larger than the tax multiplier as government spending directly affects demand, right? Because we know one of the components of demand is basically GG is one of the components of demand, right? When we write total demand for goods, Z is equal to C plus I plus G. So G is one of the components that directly enters demand, so it's directly affecting demand. So when you increase, say, so when you increase G say by $1, so the initial boost in demand is also going to be $1, right? Because when G increases by $1, Z increases by $1. But now taxes, now you can see it directly in Z. We do not see taxes anywhere, right? Taxes will indirectly affect demand through consumption, right? So if you reduce taxes by $1, that would increase your disposable income by $1, but consumption would only increase by MPC times 1. Because remember, MPC tells us the change in consumption due to an additional dollar of disposable income, and MPC is less than 1, right? Because when your disposable income increases, you save a certain part of it and you consume a certain part of it, right? So disposable income increased by $1, so you would consume, so your C would increase by MPC dollars and your savings would increase by 1 minus MPC dollars, right? So the initial boost in Z is just MPC, which is less than 1. So with the tax cut, so when you have a tax cut, the initial boost in spending is going to be smaller than from an equal increase in G. Because when you increase G by $1, Z directly increased by $1. But when you decrease T by $1, demand only increased by MPC dollars because the effect had to channel through consumption, right? Where the tax cut increased disposable income, but some part of that disposable income was saved, and only a certain part of it was consumed, which then went on to boost C. So that is why conceptually the government spending multiplier is bigger than the tax multiplier, because the initial boost in spending that you get from a tax cut is smaller than from an equal increase in G, because when disposable income increases, both C and S increase.